We love our sponsors like Foothill Transit, who make our show possible. And now, coming up next in the Morning Buzz, we have a controversial topic that had to do with Harambe.
That's right. Harambe the gorilla, who was killed at the Cincinnati Zoo after a 4-year-old boy fell into his enclosure. Now, Urban Game Changers Shirley
Husar.
Shirley Husar. Sorry about that.
That's a mouthful. Shirley Husar.
Joins us.
It has a ring to it.
Which you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
There you go.
I like that plug right there.
All right.
Well, now, so we have you on this morning, and we'd like to take advantage of talking about this. You know, there's a controversy and a divided nation, if you would like to say,
yes,
on Facebook, everything about whether or not the parents had something to do with it, specifically the mom. You know, should she have been watching her son, and should they have shot the gorilla?
Right. You know, it's interesting. Out of all the candidates, Donald Trump did address this issue. That also proves that Mr. Trump is definitely connected to the situation and understanding what the American people feel on this. You know, it's very controversial because you wonder, is the mom the one responsible? Did the zookeepers have, how did that kid get in there?
Right.
I mean, you know, and then when you watch it, you know, people are saying, well, you know, you kind of aroused the gorilla. That's why the gorilla was nervous.
You can hear people screaming very loudly, crazily. Of course, they were, you know, worried for the boy, but that may have set the gorilla off.
Exactly, and also the fact that the mom was just saying, "Hey, mom, you know," she was telling to the child, you know, stay calm, stay calm. But you know, I don't think the kid wanted it. But I was hearing that the child was telling the mom she had 10 kids she was watching.
Yeah.
And apparently the kid kept saying, "I want to get in the water. I want to get in the water." So you know, you hear all these kids, and you're like, you know, you can't get in that water. But you
would never think he's
actually
go and get in the water.
Child.
And that's the actual controversy about it, is that people that were bystanders, that were nearby, had heard this, and then the kid ends up in there, and then I guess in the aftermath, after, you know, this gorilla, beloved gorilla that had just had an anniversary or a birthday, right?
His
17th
birthday was the day before, and then they killed him.
So they kill him, and then you have people that are, you know, animal activists like Jane Goodall, which, you know, I think we all know her name for fighting for the rights of gorillas and just animals in general.
Yes.
And I think the problem was that the mom goes on Facebook and she puts out, you know, I thank God for saving my child, the zookeepers.
Thank you for everything.
But she doesn't mention
the gorilla.
Yeah, she doesn't mention, you know, poor gorilla.
And
so that set people off.
And she's not going to get prosecuted for this. But I think when we think about humanity and where we are in the food chain, we have to understand that the man being has the most powerful position. And when we think of a child versus a gorilla, which one would you put first? Because you don't know at any moment that gorilla, as Mr. Trump had mentioned, could snap and then pull that baby, though it seemed like it was loving the baby. It's very controversial. It's very sad. This was an amazing gorilla. Fortunately, they did, I don't know if you guys heard, but they were able to gather some sperm. The question is how they got the sperm.
Oh, really?
But they do have the sperm, and so there could be an offspring.
Oh,
yeah, because these are endangered gorillas.
You know, from death does come life, so that's a good plus. You know.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know.
What do you think about? I mean, if you watch the video, you can see that there are other gorillas in the enclosure as well, and zookeepers did what they could to get the female gorillas out, but he, you know, he wasn't budging. He wasn't budging. Do you think that they could have maybe tranquilized him as opposed to killing him?
Well, as you already know, they've talked about the tranquilizing and that they didn't know if that tranquilizer would have taken place. I think what's interesting, I'm surprised they've not practiced tranquilizers on the animals to know how many does it take to take them out, or even just practice in case a child fell in there, how would that gorilla act? You know, these are things that they probably will think about in the future, just reenacting, practicing with the right doses of tranquilizers instead of using a shotgun and unfortunately taking that beautiful animal out.
Unfortunately, I think that actually would bring up some other controversies on, you know, practicing, even if it's safe and, you know, the zookeepers need to tranquilize and do this for future reference. I'm sure animal activists out there would kind of be a little uproar.
Zoos are unhumane anyway,
in general,
right? Yeah. So, you know, here you are, you have this animal from the wild and you contain them in a 4x4 or whatever that space was, of course larger than that container, and that's always questionable. You know, do we really need to look at these animals as animals? Because, you know, that greater being, which is the human, is able to control the food chain from the bottom up.
Correct.
So, It's unfortunate.
And this brought up also how all of a sudden it's not the first time that it happened. So
Right,
it's something
it's
that we've
happened.
had experience with in the last 30
I agree.
years.
Like I said, why
96.
don't they know the doses of where they didn't have to kill that animal? What they could have done is tranquilize them, which would have been so much better. And you know, where in the heck was that mom? That still gets in my head.
That's what I can't.
That's like number
get
one
over.
for
I
me.
mean,
I'm
she had a lot of
sorry.
kids. They said there was another female with her who had kids herself, so they
Right.
were obviously occupied. But you know, people were bringing up the point that this kid was not gone for seconds. It had to be minutes that
Exactly.
took him to.
I don't know. She might have had a
climb
lot on
down
her mind. Maybe she was on a cell phone. I have no clue. All we know is that when it got to the final decision, which being, again, man versus animal, which one was going to be taken out and they had
Do
to
you
go
think
for
she
themselves.
should be held responsible?
Oh my God! You know I'm a mom, and I know, and I've done
It's
what
tough
I've been
to
there.
say.
I've been there when you're doing these trips, and you got to have the snack, and you got to have all the kids,
Yeah.
and then you got your kid, and you can always hear your child's voice, even in the midst of 20,000 voices.
Then maybe that's a little bit too
Yeah.
difficult to answer.
Yeah, so
but the kid, I'm sure the kid will grow up being very thankful that
Absolutely.
he's
Maybe
safe.
he can
so.
pay
And look
something
at
back
this.
when
Look
he
at the
gets
positive
older.
of this. Everyone's more aware of the zoo, how animals should be treated. Maybe that something very good will come out of this. And with that sperm, you never know. They might get a couple of more gorillas real soon.
Well, thank you once again. Thank you once again
Thank
for
you
being
for
here.
joining
having me. I
us.
love you guys. You guys are
You'll
great.
have to come
Thanks.
back.
I like the
Thank
energy.
Up next, a local a company that works with language interpretation.
That's right. We have Shannon O'Brien from Echo Interpreters in the Sunrise Spotlight. Coming up next.